Hi race fans, and welcome to the latest episode of the NASCAR Cup Days Friday preview show. This week we go over Christopher Busch's incredible Bristol win, we look ahead to Texas in our What to Expect segment, and we make our picks for this week's upcoming race. First of all, I'm not the only one in here, and Dan is a massive Christopher Busch fan. So Dan, go easy mate, we all know what you thought of the race, but how have you been, how's your week been? And tell us what you thought. We do have to do that. Tell us what you thought of the Bristol race.
I like how you gotta say go easy. So I'll try and go as easy as I can. Obviously, I am overjoyed and over the moon for what just happened this weekend. I just gotta mention this just to get it out there. I've been a longtime Carl Edwards fan my entire life. I found him watching Speed Channel, accidentally caught his first win in a blank number 99 truck, just tearing it up, jumps out and just backflips off the top of it. Fan ever since. Gets his first start in the 99 Justice League car at Michigan, and just the rest is history. And everyone knows his odd departure back in 2016. I have not been able to find anybody else I've been able to root for my entire life as a NASCAR fan since that point. Then found Chris Buescher, and slowly but surely it started to click again. You get that feeling back. I haven't watched a win for anybody I've pulled for since 2016. So I just needed to take that minute just to get it out there. I'm ecstatic for that. This was a great race from start to finish. Not the best Bristol of all time, but Bristol night race nonetheless, with a lot of little interesting storylines. Elliot, I'm looking forward to jumping into this one with you, buddy.
Okay, so like I said in the intro, it was Chris Buescher taking home the victory in Bristol. The first for RFK as a new organisation, holding off Chase Elliott on a late race strategy call to only take 2 tyres. Dan, I'm going to let you take it from here because I know how much that win meant to you, not only as a spectator, but as a fan of Chris Buescher and Roush Racing.
Yeah, obviously, I'm just completely overjoyed at this, but let's just settle it down, be objective. So this was a win that was done by the entire team from start to finish. The 17 and the 6 alike both went in the pits early on and just took right side tires only. They started to see what their lap times were going to be. And luckily, they had the ability to be first and second. 2 cars working comparable setups using right sides only. Now they're able to start gauging their lap times. How are we doing on this? What are the cars running 4 tires like? And they start to realize that their only 2 tire strategy is paying off. So here comes the final pit stop of the day. 17 says, you know what, we're only going to take 2 this time around. We know what this car can do with just that. They get out first, and it's almost smooth sailing from there. Sure, the number 9 came up from behind and was challenging them near the end, but the 17 car just had it when it counted. This was a win that was done by the entire team, not just the man behind the wheel. When it's the whole team comes together and just a solid, evolving plan overnight that comes together with a single win, that is perfect, and I'm just, God, that felt good!
Buescher held on to the lead after his boss, Brad Keselowski, and Christopher Bell had troubles late in the race, and it wasn't just him. In total, 12 of 16 playoff drivers had trouble during, or some sort of incident during the race, either caught with power steering issues, victims of tyre failures, caught up in someone else's wreck. So have we finally seen the limits on the next gen car? Is this a call for NASCAR to increase the load that these new cars can take?
So yeah, this really was the NASCAR equivalent of the Tale of Two Cities. So on one hand, you got a variety of teams trying right sides only and finding out that it really pays off. And there's speed there. That definitely held true to the guy who won the race at the end of the day. But now you got other teams who are going, in my personal opinion, too far down on the tire pressure. Goodyear always offers specs on what they believe is the minimum safe PSI for these tires. And in my heart of hearts, I can't confirm this, but I believe teams are being extremely aggressive on the tire setup. And sure, they found speed. It definitely helped them. But all in all, you started having a lot more guys blowing out and losing tires. Other issues abound as well, from obviously power steering issues to mechanical issues as well. But the tires were the massive talking point of the night. you gotta honestly just start asking the teams, look, what's more beneficial? You want to try to finish the race or you want to finish well? What are you trying to do here, guys? Is this all about just how much speed we can actually get out of this thing? Or, it's like a wise man once said, in order to finish first, one must first finish.
To finish first, you first have to finish.
And finally, we have our round of 12. 2 champions have been eliminated after the round of 16. Harvick, Busch, Dillon and Reddick will not advance in this year's NASCAR playoffs. But for both Harvick and Busch, these last 3 weeks have been dismal. Terrible results, struggled to finish in the top 20, top 15. But Kevin Harvick, in that number 4 car, legitimately had a shot of clawing back a transfer.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of surprises in terms of who was knocked out in this first round of the playoffs. A few, obviously, Austin Dillon, I don't think anything negative of the guy. He was one of my first picks to say he's gone. Like him well enough, but I don't think he's got the chops to hang with him. Tyler Reddick, that was surprising to me, just a little bit. I thought there was a couple other guys that might have gotten bumped before him. I didn't think Reddick was going to make a deep run in the playoffs, but he's too good just to be knocked out in the first round. But now onto the real meat and potatoes of this one. Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. Oh boy, there's a lot of folks out there that I don't think even could have fathomed that one, let alone two, both of these guys will be knocked out in the first round. Issues abound. Some of them just completely unexpected. Kevin Harvick catching fire at Darlington. How can anybody even just fathom that in the grand history of NASCAR? How much does that happen? Then you look at Kyle Busch blowing his engine, also at Darlington. There's a possibility that he may have missed a shift under caution. I hear that was a chance. Cannot confirm that, but yeah, wow, just losing those two off the bat when there's such heavy hitters and contenders, that shakes things up a lot. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what some of these other guys can do that I thought were going to get knocked out. Maybe they may make a deeper run. Some tracks out there, like maybe Daniel Suarez, he might catch fire a little bit and see what he can do over at the Roval. He's an accomplished road racer. He might find speed there and propel himself even farther. But yeah, this is going to be a very curious next 7 races. And it's all up in the air now with two of like the best options at winning a championship getting axed off the bat. Who knows what's happening next? And now this is what to expect on this week's NASCAR Cup Dates. So we're on to Texas, and what exactly does this mean? Well, I think we need to look back at the All-Star race to try and give ourselves a nice sample size of what happened and what's to come. Firstly, the finish with Ryan Blaney caused a massive stir in how NASCAR officiates things. There's always been some skepticism, but I believe going into this race, we are about to see NASCAR play things as exactly by the book as possible. A lot of the fans in the crowd there are going to be the same ones who witnessed the All-Star race. Texas has a very loyal fan base, and these are people that just do not want to see any fruity kind of cautions come out at the worst possible time because NASCAR's feeling it. I believe we're about to see a lot more of a strict and stern approach to how this is officiated. Number 2, I don't believe we're about to see a lot of passing. This is a very notoriously difficult track to get a run and make moves on track. We've seen it at the All-Star race. I honestly expect that we're about to see a lot of cars holding their positions for the bulk of the race. Number 3, aggressive pit strategy. These teams are figuring that the best chance that they're going to have to actually gain or lose spots is going to be on the pits. We may see a variety of pit strategies from 2 tire calls, no tire calls, hoping to mainly get some more speed off of 4 tires and seeing how much that pays off. A lot of teams are going to be digging in their playbook and seeing what everything was like at the All-Star race and just trying to form the best possible strategies they can off of the limited knowledge they have of this new car. This is the best place they're going to get it, and I think the on-track performance is going to be subpar, but keep an eye out on the pits. I think we're about to see a lot of action there.
And now's that time where we both make our picks, and I won last week by picking Chase Elliott. only falling one spot short of the overall victory, but not many people actually expected that result. Now, to look ahead to Texas, I have to look back a few months. I have to look back at the All-Star race. Who won that? Ryan Blaney. Blaney is a master of being there at the latter stages of the race with 6 out of 7 wins, finishing under a second ahead of second place.
The winner at Pocono, Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney in the 12 will win. He stopped by side. It's a photo. Crash into the wall. Blaney's going to win. Daniel Suarez in the 99. He gets turned into the 4, and they go into the wall. The next.
And all 7 of those victories have come with the pass being made inside 10 to go.
He's going to clear him.
Got the lead. Blaney to the front. Finish line. Ryan Blaney in the 12 will win.
He stopped.
Here they come. They make contact. They're side by side. But up front, they're racing for the win.
Blaney's
the crash is
ahead.
in the back. Whoa, lead change. A great run for the 12. He's got big help from the 18.
The inside line has a lot of organization. That's going to.
You can expect the same out of this weekend with YRB as he advances to the round of 12. Going to be a little difficult now. His crew chief isn't there, but I have full confidence that he can get it done. Now, Dan, back to you. You get to pick out of 39 other drivers, so who will you have leading your roster?
Yeah, it's time for the picks, Elliot. So going into this weekend, the one I feel we all have to watch out for is the number 20 of Christopher Bell. He was the first one to lock his way into the second round based on points alone. This kid is starting to find his stride when it matters the most. He has finished third here back in 2020 and 2021.
Bottom of the racetrack. He has done it. He saved enough.
Phoenix, run for a title. Good job.
This past several weeks, he's finished no worse than 5th. He is a top contender week in and week out. Sure, he hasn't found the checkered flag, but sometimes much like a Matt Crafton, you don't always got to find first place to be the one to get it done. Earlier this year, Christopher Bell, he was his own biggest problem, involved in a lot of single car incidents, and he could never get out of his own way. But now in the latter half of this season, he started to find his stride and started to find his own. I personally believe Christopher Bell is going to be the one to either A, get it done, or B, bring it home in another top 5.
Well, it's about that time we have to end the video. I want to thank Dan so much for joining me.
As always, man, thank you so much for having me. Always a pleasure to be here on the show with you, Elliot. This week has definitely been a fantastic one for me. That feeling of watching your guy win when you ain't seen it in a long time, that is very, very satisfying. Thank you all for joining me at home. As always, anything that you got to say, please leave it in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what anybody has to say. Let us know, as always, how wrong I am, how right he is. Anybody watching, please feel free to follow me on Twitter. My handle there is @CupDatesDan. Always trying to be active during the weekends, race days, as much as I possibly can. Thank you all so much for joining us. Always a pleasure, and y'all, have a good night.
And make sure you tune in next week where we'll talk about what happened in Texas. We'll try and predict Talladega, and we'll make our picks for our fantasy lineup. As for now, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you all next week.